All right, everyone. It is like 5, or not 5:30. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and this just came in the mail. Yeah, I pre-ordered from Walmart, and I used to work at the nearest Walmart, and so I opened the bag. My bag came with a Pringles can and a Coke. I don't know. I was just not expecting it this morning. This thing is a good amount bigger. Yeah, it looks good. And then here is the download code for Mario Kart World. It'd be nice if it was a physical game, but I think they didn't want to have to produce multiple different types of boxes for the bundle version. Show me putting these on the console. It is officially 10 days later. I've had some time to dwell on this game a little bit. This video is actually supposed to come out last week, but the day before Mario Kart World released, we also got Deltarune, which may or may not be one of the greatest video games of all time. So yeah, I've been a little preoccupied since this game came out, but hopefully you guys weren't dying to hear from me too bad. I know I'm the guy that made the Mario Kart 7 video with like 1.5k views, so I'm sure there's been some demand for my opinion on this game, but hopefully nothing too crazy. But anyways, here we are. So let's see, where do we begin? You can see this right on the box art for the game before you even started up. The new character designs. So it seems like for the Switch 2 era, we're sort of getting a lot of redesigns for most of the main like Mario and Donkey Kong series cast. We really haven't had like super crazy design iterations for any of these guys in like 10-15 years. Or yeah, at least like 15, because yeah, 15 years ago was only 2010. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, so for this game, we can kind of see a lot of the characters they're a lot more like squishy and plump, sort of. It's almost a little bit reminiscent of like their movie designs. Maybe like not nearly as like Illumination looking as that. Like they're still very much like identifiably Nintendo. The most obvious of these redesigns is Donkey Kong. This has been a big subject of discussion on the internet. He kind of has more of his retro look, how Nintendo had envisioned him back in the day. So he's lost the look that Rareware gave him in the 90s, which I'm personally gonna miss, but he's definitely a lot more expressive now, I would say. The Rare Donkey Kong sort of just had like one set expression. And a little nitpicky, I feel like the only really like new design that I don't like is Toad. Also Toadette as well. They're kind of the same entity, I guess. I don't know what you call them. Yeah, he just looks a little like oblong. Like he's just like his face is like curved outward. I guess oblong is probably not the right word. He's like bulbous in a way. Although I guess he is a fungus. So yeah, Toad was one of my favorites back in the day, but not so much anymore. He's just a little ugly now. A little chopped, as the kids might call it nowadays. And then speaking of these character designs, the roster for this game is something kind of interesting. So it's kind of split up into like a core lineup, and then these like kind of wild card, like enemy type characters. The core guys, it's like, you know, Mario, Luigi, Peach, the classics, and then for this other group, we have like kind of some weird ones. There's like Goomba, the Pianta from Mario Sunshine, the Moo Moo Meadows cow. That was a surprise to, I think, everybody. And the main distinction between these two groups is the core guys. They're the ones that get the cool costumes that you can get in the free roam mode, and then everyone else doesn't, which, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, it would be cool to have costumes for everybody, but I mean, it's kind of hard to envision like Spike getting a different costume. He's kind of just as he is. I don't really think he has other costume designs you could pull in. And interestingly enough, with this roster, there's no Koopalings. And they've been kind of haunting us for many years now, ever since New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So this is the official statement by Nintendo that they're kind of leaving them off at the wayside, sort of. We're done seeing the Koopalings for a while, I guess. And then in the game, once you've got your character picked, there is the kart selection. And this is another big change. The whole customization aspect is gone completely. And honestly, I think this is for good reason. I think the reason this was done is that the vehicles now are they have more like personalized or bespoke transformations when you go into the flying and the water modes. And you can't really do that when, you know, you're customizing the wheels and the glider and everything like that. I mean, gliders themselves aren't a thing anymore. It's more of like you go into like plane mode, fly around with your little wings and such. And yeah, I'm not fully aware of like what the meta for this game is yet, so I've just been kind of using like my go-tos from Mario Kart 8, like the Bitty Buggy has been my thing. There's also been a greater focus on like ATV or off-road vehicles now. I've not tested any of them, but I'm assuming you know, got to be a little good, or else I don't know why they would add them. So I guess you could say that this video's been a week delayed for no good reason. I'm not even testing anything. Now on to the gameplay. So we kind of have these main two modes of Grand Prix and Knockout Tour. And Grand Prix is a little different now, so it's only one like full traditional like 3-lap circuit per cup, and the rest is like a straight line through. You'll do one loop around a track, and then the rest of the race is going from the previous track to the next one. I probably don't have to explain this. I think you guys already know this from like the trailers and the direct and all that. I'm personally a fan of this change. I think it makes the gameplay more adventurous. It's like a road trip feel to it, or like you're biking in Cirque du Soleil. No, that is not the right thing. Tour de France. That's a little blunder on my part. And so this whole like point A to point B straight line driving type of gameplay, it's even more brought out by Knockout Tour, because the whole point of it is that it's just one continuous race across like a huge chunk of the map. And this game mode did become like a really big favorite of me and my friends while we were playing. Speaking of friends, co-op mode is just as good as usual. This is really the perfect game for like the portable form factor of the Switch 2. You can kind of bring it around and then, you know, chop off one of the Joy-Cons, give it to a buddy, and then you've got like instant 2-player gameplay on the go wherever you are. One thing I did see is there is a very noticeable frame drop going from 60 to 30 FPS when you add in a third or fourth player, and you know, it's kind of a bummer. It's understandable. You're kind of rendering, I guess I shouldn't say rendering, I don't really know what I'm talking about in the whole tech aspect of this, but you know, you're viewing the game 3 different times on your screen. It's gonna obviously be a greater workload for the console. There's also a battle mode, and honestly it's kind of mid and very underdeveloped. I feel like the Mario Kart team doesn't really like doing battle mode, because the original version of Mario Kart 8 didn't have one either. In the traditional sense, you just play on like the normal racing maps, and then only in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did you get like the custom battle mode tracks. And so maybe if there's DLC for this game in like 5 years, we can finally get more custom battle mode tracks. Right now there's 2, and then the other 6 maps are just repurposed like Grand Prix tracks. I mean, it's fine. It wasn't really something I was super interested in anyway, but maybe if it was something they put more focus on in the trailers, I would have been interested, because the thing is, like, I remember really liking the battle mode in 8 Deluxe, especially like online. There was like the Shine Thief mode and the Bob-omb battle. So yeah, not only does Mario Kart World have less unique battle maps, there's also less modes to play within it. So yeah, hopefully in the future we can see a change. I don't think we're going to be getting a Mario Kart World Deluxe, at least not for another 10 years or so when the Switch 3 comes out. But if we do, then maybe we could see an improvement in that regard. Finally, there's the free roam mode, which is kind of a big selling point of this game, actually. So it's just sort of like this fun, chill mode. You get to, you know, ride around wherever you want. You can go off-road. You can go basically anywhere, just traveling from course to course. You can use this practice as well. It's like the equivalent of like Fortnite creative mode, like the sweats, you know, they practice their building and like aiming maps and all that. I don't know if you guys are gonna appreciate that comparison. I don't know if we got any big Fortnite sweats in my following base. Personally, the free roam wasn't really a priority for me. I didn't play it all that much in my my review period. Admittedly, it is a really cool thing that modern hardware is able to do things like this. I think like the whole like idea of connected tracks, it's been a seed that was sort of planted a long time ago with like even Double Dash on the GameCube. You could see, like, for example, like Mushroom City was a course, but you could see the city underneath Rainbow Road if you look down. And so they've clearly wanted to do this for a while, and then now with the hardware improvements of the Switch 2, they finally can. Like, you could definitely not run this game on Switch 1. It would be impossible. But yeah, with like the modes and all the surface level stuff out of the way, it's time to take a look at the core gameplay of Mario Kart World. Now, Mario Kart World is easily the most mechanically complex game in the series. When I first saw the trailers, I felt like this game almost seemed like it was like a 3D boost Sonic game. In terms of some of the design choices they had here and some of the new mechanics, like we have stuff like rail grinding and wall riding, which, you know, those are both very Sonic things. The wall riding specifically, it's similar to anti-grav in Mario Kart 8, which that whole system is like fully gone. Your car doesn't like the wheels don't pop out how they used to for anti-grav. You know, you're still riding on walls. It's sort of just implied here that instead of there being like actual anti-gravity, it's more like the speed of your vehicle is keeping you propelled onto the wall, which is honestly kind of cooler. And now when you're on a wall, the camera does not like tilt to follow the car as it's rotating. It stays in position. So you get to it just sort of adds to the spectacle of like seeing that the car is literally on its side. And yeah, with these new mechanics, there's a lot of like crazy short shortcuts in the game, which you can probably tell from my gameplay in the background. I haven't really been taking advantage of too much. Yeah, even without me using all these shortcuts, it's still a very enjoyable experience. So I feel like this game has really found the balance between catering to casuals and pros at the same time. Pros is a funny word. I don't know if there's all that many professional Mario Kart drivers, but... And one other thing that I think maybe caters to casuals, but is also just sort of an overall kind of neutral change, is drifting is a lot less important than it was in the other games. Really, like, drifting is like the most fundamental Mario Kart thing. You need to get that boost from the drift, and now the boost, it seems it takes a lot longer to build up your boost compared to, say, Mario Kart 8, and the tracks as a whole are a lot less curvy and windy compared to that game, or compared to the rest of the series really as a whole. So drifting isn't nearly as viable as it used to be. Now to build up speed, it's more about collecting coins and doing like the slipstreams or drafting behind other racers, and you can gain a lot of speed from that. So it's not a bad thing, and it's not necessarily like a better thing either. It's just sort of something you have to really adjust to. So if you're playing this game like it's Mario Kart 8, you're not going to be doing amazing, is what I'm trying to get across. Yeah, and despite this kind of casual appeal I'm talking about, the CPU drivers seem a lot more skilled than they used to be. I've pretty much been entirely playing 150cc. I don't really find the lower speeds very entertaining on any of the Mario Kart games. But when you're on 150, like, you're gonna have to really try to get the 3 stars. In Mario Kart 8, maybe it's just because the game's been out for so long and I'm more adjusted to it, but it's almost effortless to get 3 stars. As long as you don't make ridiculously bad mistakes, you're gonna at least get 2 stars every time. Here, it's not that simple. You really have to be making a noticeable effort to achieve that result in this game. Honestly, I kind of like this change because I feel it adds a lot more of a replayability factor. It forces you to sort of want to learn these crazy shortcuts more. It really feels like you're given a greater incentive to master the game. And finally, I want to briefly touch on the new tracks and cups in this game. So interestingly enough, Mario Kart World kind of ditches the pattern we've been going with since Mario Kart DS, where there's 4 cups of new tracks and then 4 retro cups. Instead, we have these 16 new tracks and 14 old ones that are just sort of mixed together throughout the cups. And you may be thinking that only adds up to 30, not the typical 32, and you'd be right. And this is because the tracks Peach Stadium and Crown City both appear twice. This sounds kind of lazy, but I believe the tracks are on like heavily different routes depending on which cup you're playing them in, so it isn't really much of an issue. It's honestly more of a novelty at that point, seeing it kind of highlights the interconnected nature of the game. And some of the retro picks for these tracks are a little random, or like I don't know who was asking for these. For example, there's like Desert Hills from Mario Kart DS. I don't think that was a particularly beloved track, and even now in its new state, it's one of the weaker tracks in the game. And then Moo Moo Meadows came out in Wii and then was remade for Mario Kart 8, which has been our main Mario Kart for like 10 years. And then now we have it back again for like another 10 years with this game probably. Despite these few blunders, sort of, the retro tracks are all changed very heavily, and many of them feel like almost entirely new tracks, which I feel like has got to be why they mix them together so much, because there's not like a noticeable change when you go from a new track to a retro. It's all very consistent in like complexity and quality. For example, Mario Circuit in this game is the 3 Mario circuits from Super Mario Kart combined together into one track. And then the track Peach Beach has been like totally changed. It's almost unrecognizable from the original GameCube version. They changed it into one of the tracks where it's not a circuit. It's like a full 3-section track, which is super different from the original. The original is like one of the shortest circuit tracks in the whole series. One sort of downside, I guess you could see from having the new tracks and the retro tracks mixed together is that there's only one Rainbow Road and Bowser's Castle in this game. We're not getting like GameCube Rainbow Road back. We're not getting, I don't know, like DS Bowser's Castle. I don't know what other good Bowser's Castle maps they could bring back, but usually there is like a retro one they bring back. Here it's just one of each. This is kind of fine, honestly, because the Bowser's Castle in this game is one of the better ones in the series, and the Rainbow Road is gotta be easily, it's at least the best Rainbow Road in the series, but it might be the best track in the whole series. I don't know what else would compete with it, really. But yeah, before this, the 3DS Rainbow Road was usually seen as the best in the series, but this kind of takes everything good about that track and just sort of makes it even more grand. It's like a full adventure through space and through the clouds. They have like this crystally water section, which is super cool. There's a space station section, which is kind of similar to what they did in Mario Kart 8. Now, it does kind of suck that Rainbow Road isn't available in free roam, and it isn't in any of the Knockout Tour more rallies, so there's less ways to experience the track. It is an unlockable track. You get the special cup after completing all the other Grand Prix cups, and so I can kind of see, like, it'd be weird to connect everything together. But now, as a game overall, I think it may be recency bias, but this has got to be the best Mario Kart we've gotten yet. And I don't know if that's super debatable. Like, it seems like it's by like a pretty decent margin in my opinion. Now, the title of this video is a little outrageous. I said the game is worth $500. I do think that getting the bundle for this game, if you're planning on getting a Switch 2, is very much worth it. I wouldn't buy a Switch just to play this game. If we didn't see all the other stuff in the Direct, like Metroid Prime 4 and the new Donkey Kong and Kirby, I don't know if I would have made the effort to pre-order. Like, this game is cool, but it's not worth buying a whole console. And it's certainly not worth $80 if you buy it by itself. That's crazy. But yeah, with that being said, this is still a really good game, and I'll definitely be playing it both in single player and multiplayer for years to come now. If you enjoyed this video, honestly, you don't really have to subscribe, but maybe share it with someone. Right now, I actually don't need subscribers for my current goal. I want to like monetize my live streams, and to do that, you need both 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. But yeah, that's all I've got for today. I think in the next video, I might have a green screen behind me, so that's going to be a bit of an interesting change. But yeah, I'll see you guys then.